All right, I'd like to call this meeting of City Council to order. It is January 7th at 6:30 p.m. If you'd join me for a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and do the oaths of office for the 5 council members that are either returning or new. So if you'd like to stand where you're at, and if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
Or affirm. That I will support, obey, and defend.
That I will support, obey, and defend
The Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of Wyoming.
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming.
That I have not knowingly violated
That I have not knowingly violated
any law related to my election
any law related to my election
or appointment
or appointment
or caused it to be done by others.
or caused it to be done by others.
And that I will discharge the duties of my office
And that I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations and welcome. At the end of the meeting, if I could have all of you come and see me, we'll go ahead and sign your oaths of office and get those put in record. Next, we'll do roll call. Bowling.
Present.
Cumby.
Here.
Freed.
Here.
Lockhart.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Richardson. Here. Shumway.
Here.
And Vigil.
Here.
Did I say that correctly?
Feehill.
Feehill. Oh, sorry. That's 9 present and 0 absent. So at this time, we'll progress to item number 5 on the agenda, which is the election of the mayor and president of the Laramie City Council. At this time, the way that this will work is we'll go through each council member and ask you for nominations. You can nominate yourself or someone else. It does not require a second. So Bowling, you're the first up.
Cumby.
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 Freed.
Cumby.
Lockhart.
Newman.
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 O'Doherty.
Dr. Sharon Cumby.
Richardson.
Because my person has already been nominated, I will just wait until the vote.
Okay. Shumway.
I have no new nomination.
Okay. And Vigil.
Cumby.
Okay, so our nominations are Cumby and Newman. So now we'll move to item 5B, which is the election. So I will go in alphabetical order here and ask for each person's vote. So Bowling, who do you vote for?
Cumby.
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 Freed.
Cumby.
Lockhart.
Newman.
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 O'Doherty.
Cumby.
Richardson.
Cumby.
Shumway.
Cumby.
And Vigil.
Cumby.
Congratulations.
Okay, we have 7 votes for Cumby and 2 votes for Newman. So with that, we have a majority vote for Cumby. So now we just need a motion to set Resolution 2025-1 appointing Councilor Sharon Cumby as the mayor and president of the Laramie City Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilor O'Doherty, second by Councilor Newman to appoint Sharon Cumby as the mayor and mayor and president for the council for the years 25 and 26. Do we have any discussion on the item? No? Any comments from the council, or from the public, sorry? With that, we'll do a roll call vote. Bowling.
Aye.
Okay. Cumbie.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos. That motion carries. So with that, I would turn it over to the mayor unless you,
And City Clerk, I think for continuity, if you could complete the conducting of the meeting through item 8, the seating of the council, that it would help with things. I appreciate that.
absolutely, thank you, Mayor. All right, so we'll move on to item 6, which is the election of the vice mayor and vice president of the council of the city of Laramie for the years 2025 and 26. So we'll use the same procedure. Nominations for vice mayor. Bowling?
Richardson.
Cumbie?
Richardson.
Freed?
Richardson.
Lockhart?
Newman.
Newman?
Newman.
O'Doherty?
Richardson.
Richardson?
No nominations.
Shumway?
Richardson.
And Behill?
Richardson.
Okay, so we have 2 nominations. We have Richardson and Newman. So with that, we'll move to item 6B, the election. Same process we did last time. So Bowling, you're first. Who would you like to vote for?
Richardson.
Cumbie?
Richardson.
Freed?
Richardson.
Lockhart?
Newman.
Newman?
Newman.
O'Doherty?
Richardson.
Richardson?
Richardson.
Shumway?
Richardson.
And Behill?
Richardson.
So we have 7 votes for Richardson and 2 votes for Newman, meaning that we have a majority in favor of Richardson. So with that, we would move to item 6C, Resolution 2025-02, appointing the vice mayor and president of the city council as Councilor Richardson. Do we have a motion?
I move.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilor Bowling, seconded by Councilor O'Doherty to appoint Councilor Richardson as vice mayor for the years 2025 and 26. Do we have any discussion or questions from the council? No, any comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote. Bowling?
Yes.
Cumbie?
Yes.
Freed?
Yes.
Lockhart?
Yes.
Newman?
The mic isn't working. Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
Behill?
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos. That motion carries. That one's not going to work. Todd, would you mind? All right, next on our agenda is item 7, which is setting seniority list. The most senior member of our council currently is Councilor O'Doherty with 6 years. Next is Mayor Cumbie with 4 years. So we have a tie between Councilor Newman, Councilor Richardson, and Councilor Shumway. So in order to break that tie, we will do a little card draw, so. I know, right? Todd talked me up. I'm sorry, I don't know that I can go up my arm, but. want to cut it?
So does this mean that Councilor Doherty goes there? Because of seniority, you get to sit right there? Is that where you get to sit?
No, she gets to sit wherever she chooses. We're
Oh,
gonna
you get to
choose seats.
choose. It doesn't just go 1, 2, 3.
No,
Fantastic.
yeah,
And I'm getting away from her because I'm always cold.
she's always cold. Not enough protein.
And I noticed that you have warm handshakes, and you probably,
Very. Very.
All right, show us your cards. Oh, we've got, so Richardson, and then Newman, and then Shumway.
Do you want me to write that down for you?
Yeah, that'd be great. Richardson, Newman. And so the next tie that we have is amongst our new council members. So we have Lockhart, Bowling, Freed, and Vigil. So we'll do the same process with these folks.
Oh, you need those.
no. It's your lucky cards.
I want that ace on my kisses. You want me to cut it again?
Sure.
And
All right, let's
does the lowest one win?
Oh, no.
I'll be wearing shorts and flip-flops if you don't mind.
And
Bowling, Vigil,
don't bet on that game.
Right?
What was the order?
I got it.
Freed, Bowling, Vigil, and Lockhart.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
The city clerk was a card player.
I know, right?
Right?
Playing cards since I was a kid.
I was not trying to be picky. 2.
All right. So using the new order that we've just created for seniority, we're going to move to item 8 on the agenda, which is the seat selection at the dais. So I've given you a chart in your packet today with seating numbers. So if you would just, when it comes to your turn, if you would let us know what seat number you would like. It goes 1, 2, 3, vice mayor, mayor, and then 4, 5, 6, 7. So with that, we've got the mayor in the middle, which is Mayor Cumby. Vice Mayor Richardson will be in Bowling's position in the vice mayor seat. Next, we have Councilor O'Doherty.
Number 4.
Okay. And then we go Newman.
3.
Okay. And Shumway.
5.
And Freed.
1.
Okay. And Bowling.
7.
7.
Okay. And Vigil. So we have, 2 and 6 open.
I'm gonna make it easy and stay where I'm at.
Okay. All right. And Lockhart, I guess? Okay. This sounds good. All right. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a short break so we can rearrange everyone's seats. So we'll be back in 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah. If you could take your nameplate with you, that would be great.
Thank you, City Clerk.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. We will resume order. The next item on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a public comment on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move on to the Vice Mayor. And if you can do the consideration of agenda changes and setting of the agenda.
Okay. I move that and I want to double check on this, am I doing the consent agenda first?
Yes, right here.
Okay, thank you.
The following.
I move that the following changes to the agenda be approved, and
14H.
that is removal of 14H from the consent agenda.
Second. Do we need to put a specific to a special meeting on? Do we need to add that?
It's not required.
Not required, okay. So we, motion made by Richardson and seconded by O'Doherty. So do we have any questions on that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes 9-0. Next, there are no proclamations. County Clerk, City Clerk, do you have a presentation for us?
Vice Mayor, Mayor Cumby, item 10B, we just need to set the
I'm sorry.
agenda.
We'll get this down. I turn it back over to the Vice Mayor.
I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda, let me start with my...
Not there yet.
That's
the wrong one anyways.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
10B.
Thank you.
He submitted as changed.
I move that the consent agenda be submitted, the agenda be submitted as changed. Thank you.
Second.
The motion is made by Richardson, seconded by O'Doherty. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 9-0. Next, City Clerk, do you have a presentation for us?
Thank you, Mayor. In your packets tonight, you have the Open Meetings and Public Records Act presentation. Our plan was to make sure that you had that available to you. However, most of you have received this presentation already in your boards and commissions, on council, or in your orientation. We've talked about open meetings laws and public records. So if you have any questions, the city attorney is open for any questions as well as myself. So feel free to reach out to us. If there was a need for a work session to talk about public records and open meetings, we'd be happy to schedule a work session at another time as well. But we thought for tonight, we wanted to make sure you had the information again. And Mayor, if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. But otherwise, that's what our plan was for tonight.
I have no questions. Does anyone on council have any questions or concerns? Seeing none, then thank you very much, and we appreciate that information being presented and made open to the public as well. Next, we'll move to public hearings. City Clerk, if you could read the public hearing.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held Tuesday, January 7th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Council Chambers, and via Zoom meeting for the following purpose. Number 1, original ordinance number 2096, amending Laramie Municipal Code 13.44.090, low-income affordable municipal services rates. All information relative to this matter is available for review interview at the City of Laramie City Clerk's office at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present or may be represented by his or her agent at the meeting or via Zoom. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Next, Assistant City Manager Fieser, do you have any announcements? City Clerk?
Sorry, Mayor. At this time, it's customary that we would go to the public comment to see if there's any public comments for the public hearing.
Oh, all right, I had that after. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, then we move on to announcements. So,
Honorable Mayor, we have two announcements. The first will be by Jennifer Wade, our Administrative Services Director.
Director Wade.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Councilors. I have what I think are two exciting announcements tonight. First, I want to make sure you all got notice that the city published its first popular annual financial report. We're calling that the Community Financial Report. We did that right before the Christmas holiday, right as we released our audited financial reports. And so if you have not had time to take a look at that report, I would love for you to do so, give us some feedback. Do remember that that report is compiled based on audited totals. So the numbers you see there and the public sees there are from that audited report, but the rest of it, it's really about us making our financials more transparent to the community. So really your input is most welcome, and I will consider it as we draft future year's reports because this is our inaugural one. The next bit of exciting information I have is that the first phase of our transparency portal, I believe, will go live this Friday. Our accountant, Spencer Katuri, has been working so hard on this project for the last few weeks. He's done great work, and we will be ready to launch that at the end of this week, so watch out for that notice. We will also do a work session on that portal for you in the coming month, and then also keep you apprised as we roll out the final piece of that tool, most likely in late March or April. So lots of exciting things coming from a finance perspective.
Thank you, Director Wade.
Honorable Mayor, the next announcement will be from Derek Taney, our Community and Economic Development Director.
Director Tini.
Mayor, Council, I just have a brief announcement regarding the Laramie Area Growth Plan. For those of you that were on council, you were familiar with kind of the process that we took about a year ago. For those of you members that were not on council, maybe you heard about it or participated in that process. But the growth plan was a joint process between the City of Laramie and Albany County to develop a plan for growth in and around the City of Laramie. And right now where that plan is at is you will be shortly seeing an intergovernmental agreement that will come before you. And then following that, code updates related to the city and the county and those types of recommendations that came from the plan. But the announcement today that I have is that we submitted this plan to the American Planning Association for an award nomination, and we were granted an award through the County Planning Division as a Merit in Comprehensive Planning award through the National Planning Association. And so the National Planning Association is the only planning organization within the United States as well as Canada, and really it's kind of the area in which plans like this kind of go to receive recognition. It's where we go for professional development at a national level, and we receive certification as professional planners through the American Institute of Certified Planners. And the plan that we developed with Albany County won one of 2 awards at this highest level of county merit planning. And so really, this is kind of just a pat on the back for you, council, as well as for the public that participated in it and the county. This award, you know, at the national level to receive an award is often pretty difficult. It's usually fairly competitive, but also too, you're up against communities that are just at much different scales than even a community like ours in Laramie. And so we just wanted to make sure that that was known publicly. We're going to get some sort of plaque or some sort of award at some point. We'll put it on some wall in the city buildings here. The county as well, I think, you know, when you see your county counterparts, you need to express that to them as far as the participation in that process, because it was a cooperative process, and I think really just showed the importance of working together and that recognition coming from just people outside of anywhere around here, right? And so it is a high award, and just wanted to make sure that the council knew about that, and you'll see more related to the plan in the coming months. So.
Congratulations to you, Director Teeny, to the Planning Department, and to all of the people, both citizens, the county, and council, who put so much effort into this multi-year process. It's been a heavy lift, and I just so appreciate the recognition for the work that was done. Thank you. Next, are there any disclosures by city council members? Okay, seeing none, I turn it over to the vice mayor for approval of the agenda.
Well, I think I was trying to jump to this the whole time, and there was that really cool announcement, so sorry about that. I move that the consent agenda be approved, and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Motion made by Richardson, seconded by O'Doherty. City Clerk, if you can do roll call.
Bowling,
Yes.
Freed,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Shumway,
Yes.
Behill,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's-
That makes 9 yeses, 0 noes. The motion passes. So next, we'll move on to the regular agenda. And item 16, Councilor Richardson.
Thank you. All right. I move to award the bid for the new aerial bucket truck to Fremont Motors Lander, Wyoming, in an amount not to exceed $261,610, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Richardson, seconded by Vice Mayor Richardson, seconded by Councilor O'Doherty. Director Webb.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, the Parks Department has an approved budget in fiscal year 25 for a new aerial bucket truck. The primary use for the bucket truck is to maintain the trees, the city-owned trees throughout the city. Parks tells me they have an estimated $24 million value in our current ownership of trees. In the past, Parks has rented equipment for this. I actually had some of my staff call and see what those rental prices are at now, because they've been escalating incredibly over the last few years for equipment. And it's anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 a month to rent an aerial bucket truck. And if you want one in August, you can't get one because they're booked out through August right now. So we went out to bid. Bid was opened by the city clerk on December 17th. We received one bid from Fremont Motors. They met all our specifications, and so we're recommending award to Fremont Motors for this aerial bucket truck. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them, and Director Bork from Parks is here also if you have any questions on use and things like that.
Thank you, Director Webb. Councilors, do you have any questions for Director Webb? Councilor Lockhart?
How often is the truck used, say, per week and, during the maintenance months, so to speak?
I'm going to defer to Director Bork.
Honorable Mayor, through you, right now, because it's been such limited use on being able to have the rental truck, it's been as available. What the estimate is it's going to be used very heavily once we actually receive our own truck, both for pruning, tree inspections, even being able to get up and look at, park lights and things like that. So, I mean, it's a fully articulated bucket truck that's going to allow a lot more efficiency for not just the arborist, but for the whole Parks Department.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. Is there any public comment on the motion? Yes, can you come up to the podium? Thank you. And if you could, give us your name for the record. Thank you.
It's Tamara Davis. I was just wondering who will be maintaining the truck?
Webb, would you like to take that question?
Sure, Honorable Mayor, City Council, our fleet division maintains all city vehicles and equipment, which is why as the Public Works Director, I'm here for this, because we do all the maintenance, the specifying of the vehicles and the bidding of the vehicles for all departments across the city. So our internal fleet department will be doing the maintenance.
Thank you, Director Webb. Are there any other comments? None online. Thank you. It returns to council for any further comments. Do you have any comments? Seeing none, if you can call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes, that motion.
And Vigil, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't realize I missed it.
You're good, yeah. That motion passes 9-0. Moving on to item 17, Councilor O'Doherty.
I move to approve the contract between the City of Laramie and Fitch and Associates for the purpose of implementing the EMS system for providing E911 service and authorize the fire chief to sign.
Second.
Motion made by O'Doherty, seconded by Richardson. Welcome, Chief Johnson. Thank you.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, what you should have before you tonight, not only is my cover sheet, but you should have a proposal we received and a contract that was developed based off that proposal. I'll go over just a brief history of what you have before you, because we've had a transition here. But we were in negotiations with IMH. We've had a partnership with them since 1979, where they pretty much administered billing, compliance, a lot of supplies, ordering. We, of course, ran all the calls. We did all the calls through the city of Laramie, throughout Albany County, but we also did all the calls for IMH that runs transfers through the Front Range, and as well as helipad transfers, fixed wing transfers, transfers back to houses, anything out of IMH. We entered into a lease agreement in 2017 that was a 5-year agreement with a clause in there that it keeps renewing annually until we worked out the next agreement. At the end of that agreement, we realized that the business had really changed. We're doing a lot of work throughout the Front Range, taking patients, and we entered into negotiations in 2022, and we were not getting very far. We couldn't come to terms, and we jointly hired a consultant company that specializes in emergency services, sustainability in those services, efficiency and accountability. They did a study of our system. It was Fitch and Associates, and they did a study of the system that lasted over a year. They spent looking at data, and they did in June a council work session and presented the the findings of their study. We use that study as a basis for our negotiations forward with IMH. We still have not, the interest of both parties still were not able to be reached through negotiations. And in November, we decided it would be best for both parties to go through a transition period where the Laramie Fire Department will continue running all the emergency 911 calls, and the hospital will work to do their transfer system. So that's the background. Before I move on into the contract, is there any questions before I get?
Councilors, are there any questions at this point on the process that has occurred through these rather lengthy negotiations? Seeing none.
Okay.
Chief, continue.
So continuing on, we decided in November of this 2024 that we were going to basically go our separate ways. We have solicited Fitch for helping us to transition to run the business end of the emergency 911 side. We got a proposal from them, worked on a contract. We took a budget amendment. Jen put it on her budget amendment in the December 3rd meeting, and we amended the budget to cover these costs through June, and then we will go through the normal budget process from July through the rest of the year. It's $9,500 a month. For the cost, it's estimated, Fitch estimates it will take between 9 months and a year to do. I asked for basically an exit clause if there's any reason we need to exit it. There's, I think in the termination clause work, there's 4 items. On the 4th one, it's that exit clause for any reason we can get out of it if we need to. If we go over 40 hours a month, that's what they estimate they'll be spending getting us set up and running. There's a $300 an hour charge for that. They assume, the assumptions made, they've done a lot of work with us already. They're very familiar with us. They're very familiar with what we need to do. So we would be off the ground running pretty quick with this company. With that, the contract's before you. If you have any questions, either on the history or the contract, I stand for questions.
Councilors, Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief Johnson. I was reading through this, and we have the contract amount of $9,500 a month. Then there's also, if someone comes and visits,
Yes.
$2,200 for the visit. How often do you anticipate something like that happening? Because that will be on top of the contract, correct?
Through you, Mayor, Councilor Lockhart, yes, that would be on top of the contract. We would work that out. I'll have a better feel after our initial meetings. We're going to be able to do most of this through Zoom and technology. They're very familiar with our system. They've been on site. They were on site, I believe, twice for the study that took a year to make the proposals to IMH, or the study that we based our proposal off of. So using that as an estimate, I'm assuming they're going to be here at least once, and I don't think they'll be here more than that, Councilor. Do you have any? Okay, that's.
So basically, if I get this right, they're going to basically just do all the training, all the transitions. So once that contract is up, your staff will have the personnel to do everything that, say, Ivinson was doing, so to speak, IMH. Is that correct? Or are they going to continue to do the billing and things of that nature? Or is that
through you, Mayor?
Chief.
Councilor Lockhart, yes, we would be transitioning where we'll be responsible. Probably every couple of years we'll want to look at rates, look at our compliance, making sure that everything is T's are crossed, I's are dotted. But they'll be working with us with our Medicare compliance. They'll be working with establishing our rates with the insurance companies through the billing. They'll be working with the billing. We will get a billing company that will be submitting all of our electronic data to turn around and do the billing. We'll be doing, setting our budgets, let's see, I've got in my notes here. I think that's the big check mark, so that's.
Can I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you anticipate having to hire more employees? And if so, how many to take up this?
Through you, Mayor, Councilor Lockhart, we'll be talking about staffing. There will be I anticipate that there will be some different duties within our current employees that we have. If there's additional staffing needed, it would be on the administrative side, but I don't believe that that's going to be necessary. We'll learn as we get set up. So.
Thank you for clarification.
Thank you. Councilor Richardson.
Thank you. This kind of comes back to that original process piece. Can you remind us, we know there's going to be some upfront costs, but what we anticipate the savings to be in the long run by taking this on ourselves and no longer doing the transport?
Honorable Mayor, through you, Councilor Richardson, if I understand your question, you're asking like the savings. I do know, if we can get a neutrality, so there'll be cost savings, and we have 6 ambulances we're running now. We won't be running ambulances throughout the Front Range, so I know we won't need 6. I'm pretty confident we're going to need 4, but I want to really study the new system as we roll out to make sure we don't need 5, but we won't need 6. So there's savings there. There's obviously savings in fuel. There's savings in maintenance. There's savings in we'll look at staffing. One of the things I've done is met with IMH, and in our negotiations, when they decided that we were heading this way, a statement was made that they would rely on us for backup. I don't have a good feel for what that is yet, so I've went up there and asked for some clarification on that, because we'll have to have an agreement, and we'll have to have that agreement in place before I can talk about any kind of staffing resources. So, the civilian driver program also is specifically for transfer, so that would be a savings there too. When you total all that up, we're looking in the neighborhood of, Jen, is it $750,000 to $800,000 in that neighborhood. So,
Councilor Newman.
I was, when I read through the contract and I was looking at sorry, I'm scrolling back down. So any hours worked beyond 40 will be billed at $300 an hour. I don't see anywhere in there where they have to discuss that with us. Do you think they'll reach out if they have to go over the 40 hours before they do that? Or according to the contract, they have free range to go over 40 hours and bill us without communicating that to us?
Through you, Mayor, Councilor Newman, I appreciate you bringing that up. We'll make sure that we're well informed if we're hitting that 40. And there'll be some time-sensitive issues we need to deal with, so I think we'll be in a position where can we handle this next month, or do we need to handle this now? I don't think we're going to be going over 40 with all the work. The company has been here so much already and done so much work already. I don't see us going over 40, but I've been surprised before. So I do appreciate you pointing that out, and I'll make sure that we are notified if we're getting close to that.
And can I clarify? I wanted to clarify something Councilor Lockhart said. It's $2,200 plus all expenses. So it could be more than that. I just wanted to make sure that was out there.
Thank you. Councilor O'Doherty.
My understanding is if we're not doing these transfers, then we are going to be saving a lot in overtime for our firefighters. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sweating that so much as not having our firefighters out driving people all the way to Denver instead of being here for us in case we need them. So I was wondering, the other thing we were hoping is that it would help morale for our firefighters to not be acting as chauffeurs to take people from Ivinson down to the Front Range. Have you had any feedback about that? Are people like disappointed to lose that part of their job, or has it not even reached the
Honorable
troops yet?
Mayor, Councilor Doherty, yes, it'll be a morale boost. It's a tough thing to be driving those long transfers in real bad weather, 2 a.m. I look at two issues when you talk about overtime issues. The things that I really look at are our concurrency of calls we were really way out over our skis on what I call a risk-benefit model. Those long transfers, it's like 70% of the time we were running concurrent calls. We're at minimum staffing most of the time. Benefit to the community is if we won't be on those long transfers. We're running 550 transfers average through the Front Range, so it takes up quite a bit of time. And the concurrency numbers should lower for us, where we're not, we should be hopefully most of the time sending a full shift to a fire instead of we're missing 4 people because they're out on a transfer, you know. So that's a big benefit to the community. And then that's the biggest benefit, in my opinion. So.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, I'd like to open it to the public for comments on this agenda item. Any online? Seeing none, I return to council. Are there any comments? Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Your Honor, and congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I have a concern that on transfers, obviously, they have reached out to us and asked if we could be available should they need us for emergency or whatever. I know that these transfers can be very expensive, and they're very dangerous, and they're very time-consuming, and they reach into our overtime. So there's a lot of good reasons why, you know, we should not have that as part of our service that we provide. However, if it becomes, I think we need to make sure that we reach a point where we look at the cost that benefit to the city should we again be part of the transfer system. If it's more, if it's cost savings to IMH for them to give us more and more of their transfers, I think we need to make sure that we have a business model that says this is what our cost is going to be to transfer, you know, the people to Denver, Fort Collins, wherever, Cheyenne, wherever they're being transferred to, so that we don't become, you know, a someone that they can put up their, you know, their expensive transfers to the city, and that we make sure that we make a profit on what we're doing there also, if that makes sense.
Chief.
Honorable Mayor, Councilor Shumway, I agree. It's really important to me that both agencies are supporting each other through this transition, and even after the transition, we will maintain a good relationship. Any agreement we end up with, if an agreement moves forward to be a quote-unquote backup, it would appear before council, and certainly we would take into consideration the concerns that you just talked about. So it would need to be an agreement that works for both parties. So.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Councilor O'Doherty.
I just want to thank the chief and our city manager for negotiating this and saving us hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So thank you.
And Chief, I would just like to say how much I appreciate the work that you and the Office of the City Manager have put into this very lengthy and carefully considered process. And ever since you reported to us some time ago, the percentage of time that we had 2 ambulances out of our community, sometimes at distances exceeding 100, 150 miles, I've been concerned about the safety of the community in the event of some mass casualty event. And so this lets me rest a little easier, and I do think that this will have a significant impact on morale among the EMS team. And having been a person who would be on call during part of my career, it's very stressful to never know when you might be called and then be 200 miles from here and your shift is over and you still have to get back home. So I appreciate the work that's been done on this, and I think it's going to save the city a significant amount of money and hardship. Thank you.
Honorable Mayor, just one other point before
Yes.
you go to your vote is the transition we're scheduled for the transition to happen in September. Both organizations have a lot of work to do to get to where we're ready to be standalone for the responsibilities we'll be having. So
thank you for that.
And then I would, you mentioned myself the work, but you are correct. City Manager's Office, Jean George, did a lot of work on this. Jen Wade has done a lot of work on this, and former employee Chief Operating Officer Malia Brown has done a lot of work on this process. So
thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. City Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes. That motion passes 9-0. And next, we're going to item 18, Councilor O'Doherty.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2096 on second reading, amending Laramie Municipal Code, Chapter 13.44, related to low-income affordable municipal service rates.
Second.
Motion made by O'Doherty, seconded by Newman. Councilor Wade? Director Wade?
Good evening, Mayor Cumby, and I will respectfully retain my role. I have the pleasure of presenting for your consideration this evening an ordinance that would amend our low-income affordable municipal services rates. The amendment to this ordinance actually came from council discussion during the first and second reading of the surface water drainage utility rates. And several of our council members expressed a need to make sure that our existing ordinance was updated to provide a credit for our new surface water drainage rate as well. So the city manager got a group of us together, Public Works, Finance, her office, and said, let's do a deep dive into this ordinance and see what we can propose to the council. Well, the first thing that we noticed is that this ordinance had not been updated since 2013. So the rate of $37.58, I believe, $37.37 that's in the existing ordinance, in our opinion, was just an outdated starting point. And what we would like to recommend to you first is that we bring that existing credit to the current dollar value. And we recommended a replacement rate of $51.51 simply by taking the CPI index inflation between February of 2013, when this original ordinance was adopted, and October of 2024, which was the most current date I could access when we were preparing the changes to this ordinance. So we would propose that you consider a change to the existing credit to $51.51 from $37.37. Then we needed to recommend to you a possible credit for the new surface water drainage fee. So we compared this inflated, the old credit in new dollars, we'll say current dollars, to the percentage of the average residential household bill, and we found that that was about 44%. And so we recommend for your consideration a surface water drainage fee credit equal to 44% of what we expect that average household bill to be, and that total would be $4.40 per month. We also just did some language cleanup, which happens when you don't amend an ordinance for over 10 years. You'll see that in your materials. I won't go over all of those changes, but I will tell you that there were no changes of substance. Councilmember Newman asked a question last meeting about where the 9-month residency requirement came from, because one of the requirements is that you have to live in your property for 9 months. That actually is to accommodate our seasonal communities, primarily our older community that sometimes winters in a warmer climate. And so some of our longer-term staff had that knowledge on hand, and so we were happy to clarify that point. And finally, to prevent this ordinance from becoming as outdated in the future, we would also recommend a mechanism to you where through the city manager, the staff has the ability to adjust this credit annually to be 44% of the average residential bill during the previous calendar year. And so we're just going to say that 44% is what now has meaning. We're going to index that to the previous calendar year, which does mean that that amount may vary based on the volume the community uses. I believe that that is a fair approach. That's what we would want. But that was the final piece of our proposal to you in terms of considering changes to this ordinance. I've done my best to summarize the changes. Of course, you see the fully changed ordinance in your attachments, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Councilors, are there any questions for Director Wade? Seeing none, I move to the public. Are there any public comments on this motion? Seeing none, I return to the council for comments. Councilor Richardson.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Wade, for all of your work on this. I really appreciate looking at this to make sure that we are covering our lowest income folks. I still am a little bit concerned of how it's kind of based on those federal numbers, and would like to see if there are other ways that we could make sure those who are in that lowest income area are able to easily access that. I know that a lot of the processes to access some of like the SNAP benefits and that sort of thing are really, really laborious. And so there are a number of people who probably aren't accessing that would qualify. And so I don't have anything ready today, but I'm hoping to look into that a little further and perhaps bring something next time.
Councilor Newman.
Mayor Cumby, you actually had an audience member raise their hand for public comment.
I apologize, I did not see that. Can you please come forward? Thank you, Councilor Newman.
Hi, so I'm Tamara Davis. The water rates here are a little high for what I can do. I've come from Colorado, and they are higher here than they were in Colorado for me. So I'm wondering, and if this is just, we just keep increasing, I'm just worried about being able to pay said water bills.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you. And I'm sorry that I missed you. I didn't see your hand. Are there any further questions or comments? City Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill. Yes. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes. That is 9 in favor, 0 no. The motion passes. Next, item 19, Councilor Newman.
I move to approve Resolution 2025-03, appointing council members for the City of Laramie, Wyoming to serve as a liaison or voting member for each board and commission for the City of Laramie, Wyoming, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Oh, sorry, second.
Motion made by Counselor Newman, second by Richardson. Counselors, are there any questions? Seeing none, I go to the public for public comment. City Clerk.
So Mayor, at this time, in your packet material, we have the attachment A to the resolution. So we'll just need to work through attachment A to determine who those new council liaisons are for each board. The way that we do that is going according to the seniority list from the top, selecting one position and then going all the way down to the bottom, then starting at the bottom and going back to the top. And we just continue that until all positions have been selected.
Thank you for explaining that, City Clerk. Does anyone, and I know we have a number of new members, have any questions about how the process works and what we're about to do?
I do.
Councilor Lockhart.
I do, Mayor, thank you. So we start, gosh dang it. So we start at 1, go to 9, which is me. And then do I vote, or do I get again?
Yes, then you
Okay.
vote again. Yep.
I just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
And Mayor, if it's helpful, I did print some new seniority lists on the printer. I could run and grab those for the council if that's helpful in determining down and back, you know?
Would that be helpful to any councilors? I think are we set? Okay. Councilor Freed.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to clarify, there's no minimum or maximum for boards or committees, correct?
That is correct. City Clerk.
So Mayor, there are a couple of boards and commissions that we just wanted to let the councilors know about as well. The first one is the Civil Service Commission. The position on that board by resolution has been set that it's the mayor of the city council. So that position has already been filled by resolution by the mayor. There are 2 outside boards and commissions that we wanted to note as well. The Albany County Mental Health Board selects their own council representative. Oh, sorry, that is on the third page, page 3. The first one on the outside boards section. And they've selected Councilor Cumby for the Mental Health Board. Another outside board that selects their own representative is the Pilot Hill Project Committee, and they've selected Councilor Richardson.
Page 4. And that's on page 4.
Page 4, sorry.
Councilor Bowling.
Forgive my ignorance here, but former Mayor Harrington said, if you don't understand it, ask the question, because the public doesn't either. Can the city clerk just explain the meaning of ad hoc committees for me? I see that there is one, the Laramie Youth Council, at the bottom of our page.
So ad hoc committees are typically, and City Attorney, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but typically the ad hoc committees are temporary committees that are put together for a specific purpose, you know. So we've had an ad hoc committee for police and community to determine if an oversight board was necessary in the city of Laramie. So if they were put together for a specific short-term goal, whereas the boards and commissions are more long-term, you know, vision.
Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? And everyone ready to proceed? Then, City Clerk, will you call out the individuals in order, and they state the committee or board? Okay.
I'd be happy to, Mayor. So our first one is Councilor O'Doherty.
I'd like Finance Committee. It's on page 2, middle of page 2.
Okay, Mayor Cumby.
I'll take Finance Committee.
Richardson.
Oh, sorry. I'll do the Downtown Development Authority in Main Street.
Page 1.
Sorry, page 1.
Newman,
Finance. Page 2.
Shumway,
USAC. I don't know what page it's
That's page 2, Urban Systems Advisory Committee.
Freed,
Parks, Trees, and Recreation Advisory Board on page 1.
Bowling,
Laramie Police Advisory Board on page 1.
Vico,
Human Rights and Relations Committee, page 1.
Lockhart,
The Planning Commission Zoning Board, page 1.
Lockhart,
Sorry about Urban Renewal Agency, page 2.
Vico,
Town and Gown, and that's page 4.
okay, Bowling,
Give me just a second to catch
Oh,
up
sure.
here, City Clerk, thank you. Where's town again? Ad hoc year, Laramie Youth Council.
okay. Freed,
Ranch Advisory Commission, page 2.
Shumway,
The Rec Board.
Page 2,
I'm sorry, backing up just a second.
bottom of page, Joint Powers Board.
took me a second too. Newman,
I'm going through my list, hold on.
Take your time, sir.
I want Laramie Chamber Business Alliance on page 3.
Oh, wait, I put you
Oh, I don't want that.
Richardson,
I will do, Erin, I don't know if you are interested still in the Building and Fire Code Board of Appeals. Just
Not
a
married
side
to that.
conversation. You're not married to that? Okay. I will do that one. Sorry.
Richard.
Building and Fire Code Board of Appeals.
page 1.
Page 1.
Cumbie,
Airport Board. And
Page 3.
page 3.
O'Doherty,
Environmental Advisory Committee, page 1.
okay, and O'Doherty for a second.
Oh, I wasn't ready. Sorry.
Take your time, Counselor.
Advisory, oh, we already got, did we already do disabilities?
Nope.
Okay, I'm writing in the wrong places then. I would like Laramie Advisory Commission on Disabilities. Page 1, middle of the page.
Cumbie,
Board of Health.
Richardson,
Beautification, Laramie Chamber of Business Alliance Beautification Committee, which is page 3.
Newman,
Give me a second. No idea. like USAC on page 2.
That's Urban Systems Advisory Committee.
We don't have that noted that it has to be one from each ward, just 3 council members. I'm sorry, what was that, Mayor?
I just said, I was calling out the page.
Oh, thank you. Shumway.
The Laramie Youth Council, page 4.
Freed.
Traffic Safety Commission, page 2.
Bowling.
Local Emergency Planning Committee, page 2.
Vigil.
Albany County Transportation Authority, page 4.
Lockhart.
Second, page 4.
The Urban Systems Advisory Committee.
Page 2.
Page 2.
Okay, so we have complete pages on 1 and 2. Lockhart for a second.
Albany County Tourism Board, page 3.
Vigil.
LCCC, Albany County Campus Advisory Council, page 3. 2. No, 3.
3, yeah, you're right. Bowling.
Laramie Public Art Coalition, page 3.
Freed.
Laramie Railroad Depot Association Board, page 3.
Shumway.
Could you tell me what's left?
Sure, we've got Community Juvenile Services Board. We have Laramie Rifle Range, Wyoming Territorial Park Board, and Laramie Youth Council, which you're already on.
You can pass.
I'll pass.
Okay. Newman.
Youth Council.
Richardson.
I'm going to stop where I am.
Okay. Cumbie.
I pause.
Okay. O'Doherty.
Community Juvenile Services Board, though I will note that it has never met in my tenure, so
Good to know.
that I know of, that I was invited. Oh, I'm sorry, page 3, the middle of the page, second from the outside boards.
So we have 2, according to my notes, left, Laramie Rifle Range and the Wyoming Territorial Park Board. Councilor O'Doherty, it would come back to you.
Oh, okay, well, Territorial Park Board.
Cumbie.
Pass.
Richardson. Pass. Newman.
Pass.
Nobody?
Shumway.
Right.
Pass.
Freed.
Pass.
Bowling.
Rifle Range.
Okay, so that completes our selections. Because of us doing the selections after the main motion, we could entertain a motion to amend the resolution to add in the names as selected.
Thank you, City Clerk. Do I have a motion?
I'll move. Sorry, my microphone's.
And the mics are like way down today.
I know they're,
I'll move to entertain that motion.
Also,
Amendment motion made by Richardson, seconded by Newman.
Point of information.
Councilor O'Doherty.
Dr. Mayor, could we ask the clerk to read as she has them? Because I know I put things in the wrong place a couple times.
City Clerk, before we vote, would you
I'd be happy to, Mayor.
go through that? Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Board of Health, Cumbie. Building, Fire and Code Board of Appeals, Richardson. Downtown Development Authority, Richardson. Environmental Advisory Committee, O'Doherty. Human Rights and Relations Committee, Vigil. Laramie Advisory Commission on Disabilities, O'Doherty. Laramie Police Advisory Board, Bowling. Parks, Tree, and Recreation Advisory Board, Freed. Planning Commission, Lockhart. Ranch Advisory Commission, Freed. Traffic Safety Commission, Freed. Urban Renewal Agency, Lockhart. Finance Committee, O'Doherty, Cumbie, and Newman. Local Emergency Planning Committee, Bowling. Urban Systems Advisory Committee, Shumway, Newman, and Lockhart. Civil Service Commission, Mayor Cumbie. Albany County Recreation Board, Shumway. Albany County Tourism Board, Lockhart. Laramie Regional Airport Joint Powers Board, Cumbie. Albany County Mental Health Board, Cumbie. Community Juvenile Services Board, O'Doherty. LCCC Albany County Campus Advisory Council, Vigil. Laramie Chamber Business Alliance Beautification Committee, Richardson. Laramie Chamber Business Alliance, Newman. Laramie Public Art Coalition, Bowling. Laramie Railroad Depot Association, Freed. Laramie Rifle Range, Bowling. Wyoming Territorial Park Board, O'Doherty. Albany County Transportation Authority, Vigil. Laramie Town and Gown, Vigil. Pilot Hill Project Committee, Richardson. Laramie Youth Council, Bowling, Shumway, and Newman.
Thank you, City Clerk. Does anyone have any further questions before someone proposes the motion? Then
I'm
do we have
sorry,
a
Honorable Mayor, could you repeat that?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes, I was just wondering if everyone's clear now, and are we ready for the motion? Do I have a motion from the floor?
We made one and seconded it already.
We did?
From
Okay.
Richards.
But we have an amendment now.
Right, we did that too.
Okay. I missed that.
No, that's okay. Mayor, so now we do have the motion on the floor to amend Attachment A as stated.
Okay. So then,
So we would need to take
roll call.
Yeah,
Thank you.
on the amendment.
Yes.
Did you want to take public comment on the amendment?
Yes. Are there any public comments related to committee, boards, and commission selections? Yes, if you can come forward and provide your name, please.
Hi, my name's Linda Devine. I was just curious about the Community Juvenile Services Board, and I know I'm not supposed to ask you questions, but Councilor O'Doherty, you said that it had never met in their 10 years. Is it possible to find out exactly what that is, or?
In my tenure, I said.
Oh, your tenure, okay.
Yeah. It's run through the county, but
okay.
They're apparently, maybe our attorney knows.
That's okay. I can follow up and find out what's going on. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Devine. Seeing no no further comment, are there any comments from council? Councilor O'Doherty.
I want to point out to new counselors and to the public that these meetings are all public. So if you didn't get a board you really were dying to get on, you could still attend the meetings. And also we fill in for each other sometimes when somebody's out of town. Thanks.
Any other comments? Counselor Bowling?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. This is more of a comment than a question, and I by all means do not mean it as a criticism. I understand how important all of these boards and commissions are and how prudent it is that the work start to be done, with some expediency. As an incoming counselor, spent a decent amount of time doing this research. But I am curious as to why the selection process that we put forward here isn't sort of a multi-meeting process that could involve a work session in which counselors would be able to have open discussion amongst themselves about why a particular counselor feels like they would like to serve or is best suited for, or perhaps maybe that can also help illuminate board or commission positions that one may not think at first glance would be a great fit, but in actuality might be really beneficial to the community. All that is to say that when this process is revisited 2 years from now, I'm curious if it would be possible to kind of amend this process so it isn't so rushed at the top of the first council meeting, can perhaps involve also a council planning meeting. I know we're also coming up on the heels of the council retreat, and so I just think while I know it's prudent that we try and get to work as quickly as possible because it's important work, I also feel like the discussion around how we do that and who we appoint is also an important part of that process. Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
Thank you. And Councilor Bowling, I appreciate your comments. And before I turn it over, I will say that I have received those comments from others and also have found that to be my experience with my first selection, that it was a bit overwhelming. And so I am curious why it was set that way, and if that is set in stone, or if it's open for council negotiation and reworking. And City Clerk, did you have information on that?
Mayor, I just wanted to let you know that the reason we use this process right now is that that's in this adopted City Council rules of procedure. So if that is something that the City Council would like to change for future use, that is something that is amendable. We tentatively have a work session set in January on the 28th for you to start talking about amendments that you might want to your rules of procedure. So that might be something to discuss during that item.
Very good. Thank you. Councilor Newman.
City Clerk, could we just not do a motion today to postpone this until after the retreat, and we can talk about some of this at the retreat, just in case, because Councilor Bowling makes a good argument that maybe a board that Councilor Lockhart has, maybe Councilor Freed wanted, and we could do some, not trading, but you know what I mean, something that, but my overall question is, could we just postpone this until after the retreat so we have time to discuss it like Councilor Bowling asked?
The council can do as they wish. With the resolution set in place, we have some meetings coming up, so just to keep that in mind. Civil Service Commission is set by resolution, so that it's the mayor. So that position would probably be okay to go ahead and serve as council liaison tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So we have some meetings coming up that soon. Planning Commission does have their next meeting on Monday, and off the top of my head, I don't have my calendar. I can't think of which other boards might be meeting this month, but we might be running up against some of those meetings. So if we don't have council positions set, you might just ask a counselor to attend or something if you're going to postpone to allow for more conversation.
And your follow-up, Councilor Newman?
I'll wait until.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilor Bowling, and then Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. City Clerk, following off of Councilor Newman's suggestion, would it be appropriate, possible, to vote and pass on commissions this evening, but then be able to sort of be in conversation, revisit that, and amend that at a later date after we're able to spend time discussing at the council retreat? Thank you.
No,
Councilor Newman.
the only problem,
Oh, I need to go to Councilor Shumway first.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to remind the council that in the past, we have been able to negotiate or change these boards and commissions among us as we see they fit. So I would encourage us to go ahead and continue with this motion before the council so that we can get it in place. And then, in the past, it's not been a problem. We've been able to make changes as necessary.
And Councilor Newman, you had okay. City Clerk.
Thanks, Mayor. I was just going to offer, from staff's point of view, yes, you can amend this later. We've done that at other points when new commissions are brought up or changes are necessary. We've just done a follow-up resolution, to reset those positions. So I don't see any reason why we can't do that.
And I would like to concur with Councilor Shumway that I think in the past, we have negotiated, we have amended and switched different committees as necessary or as desired. And so what happens tonight is not set in stone. And I just would like to make a couple comments that because there has been conversation that this can be a bit overwhelming, as in my role as vice mayor, I reached out to each newly elected and also to each council member to try and go over the boards and commissions, explain the process, explain the workload, what's involved, et cetera, so that people had some information before they came in to try to reduce that sense of being overwhelmed by the process. And those conversations were kind of open about just what is it and describing and giving of information. And the information that I received is not terribly different than what we have. And so I would encourage us to continue. And I think just the last comment I would like to make is that our presence in these boards and commissions is our entryway into some of the leadership of the community and into the community. And we have many people who volunteer their time and expertise, and when we show up, it honors their commitment. And when we don't, it demoralizes the committee. And I have witnessed during my tenure what happens that if a committee is neglected, that it can begin to dysfunction, and then we really have to work hard to recreate and reinvigorate that. So your participation really is meaningful. And the last thing is that it's an opportunity for us to build relationships, to kind of begin to make connections with relationships in the community. And it starts to break down silos and allows us to start to build collaboration and coalition. And so I know there's been discussion over the years is this really important? Do we need to do this? I find it, you're a liaison, but you're an ambassador as well. And it's your opportunity toward frontline engagement in the community. And I find it very valuable to participate. So I appreciate each of you for the number that you have volunteered for. And thank you. And so that ends my comments. So, City Clerk, can you call the roll? On the amendment.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
And Richardson.
Yes.
That motion passes 9-0. Thank you. So now we go to the original one. We're done. No,
Main motion, you're right.
the main motion.
Yes.
So do we call the vote now?
We haven't taken public comment on the
Okay.
main motion, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any public comment on the main motion to accept these committee nominations? Seeing none, I return to council. Does council have any final comments before we vote? Seeing none, City Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes. That motion passes 9-0. Thank you. And so item 20, Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the council approve resolution number 2025-04, designating the Laramie Daily Boomerang as the official legal newspaper for the city of Laramie, Wyoming for the calendar years 2025 and 2026, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion made by Freed, seconded by O'Doherty. Council, are there any questions or comments? Are there any comments from the public? Yes. Ms. Devine, if you can come up.
Thank you, Mayor. Linda Devine. I'm curious about that. There's several news organizations in Laramie, so I'm not opposed or for it. It's just interesting to me that we would choose one particular news organization to be the official. I mean, is there a reason, or is there anyone that can explain it tonight or anything, just to help me understand a little better? And thank you.
Thank you. And I appreciate your comments. And I'm thinking that, can we get a comment or explanation? Yes, City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. In Wyoming State Statute 15-1-110, it does require that you designate a newspaper if one is available. So that's why this resolution is on the agenda. We've put the Laramie Boomerang in place because they have been the designated newspaper for many years. If the council wishes to change that, they absolutely can. But that's why it's on the agenda tonight.
Thank you.
I have a
Thank
quick
you, Ms.
question.
So is there any further?
Sorry, I'm out of order.
Right now.
I'm out of order. I apologize.
Are there any further public comments?
Can I make another one?
I'll allow it this time, yes.
Just curious on the process, if there's other organizations that are notified that they could possibly be. And there's some that newspapers, and I don't know how they're defining newspapers, right? Because there's a lot of online, and so I don't know if other news organizations are notified about it. I don't mean to be a pain, it's just curious.
I appreciate your comments and would like to bring it back to council for comments and suggest possibly this is something that we could discuss during our work session to explore other possibilities or to just explore this. I turn it over to council for comment. Councilor O'Doherty.
It's my understanding it has to be a print newspaper, and Laramie Boomerang is the local paper. So I'm in favor of supporting a local business, as local as it is.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I have one, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. I know we had kind of thought about the idea in there, oh my gosh, the municipalities, Wyoming Association of Municipalities can sometimes bring something forward, and this is pretty outdated statute, so this might be an opportunity to address this with the legislature to say, is there a way to update this, as we are only getting the Laramie Boomerang 3 days a week now. So there's an opportunity there to think about it more broadly, but it won't be our decision. It would be at the legislative level.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Eric Henderson, President. I would request that in light of the reduction of dates of that legal notice being available, council consider requiring online publication without charge. That closes my comment.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any further comments? Then, City Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes, that motion passes 9-0. Next, item 21, Councilor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council approve Resolution 2025-05, setting the time, date, and location of pre-council meetings, regular meetings, and work session meetings, and public hearings of the City Council, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilor Bowling, second by Councilor O'Doherty. I open it to questions from the council. Are there any questions on this motion? Seeing none, I open it to the public. Does the public have any comment on this motion? Seeing none, I return to council. Are there any comments before the vote? Seeing none, City Clerk, can you call the roll?
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes. That motion passes 9-0. And finally, I return to the public for any comments on non-agenda items. Seeing none, return to the council for any suggestions on future council work session topics. Councilor Newman.
I would like to explore, so Resolution 2025-04, setting the local newspaper. I would like a work session on exploring other avenues as well as the newspaper to get some of our media out there, whether it be online or something, some other source other than just the newspaper.
Additional?
Yeah, additional.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I have a question to that.
Sure.
Yes.
Are you speaking broadly about things that are going on at council, or just those legal notices that we're required to put in the paper?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would be on board with speaking more broadly about communications. Maybe
Right,
that's
that's-
that. And I know that at one point, Mr. Kriebel had suggested dashboards, so maybe it's an opportunity to talk more broadly about how we as a city can make improvements on communication, and individually, how we can support kind of the communications that we're putting out there.
Councilor Freed?
Yeah, I would just like to say I would be in favor of that as well.
Councilor Newman?
Then I have another one, another work session.
Can we finish comments on this one and then move on?
Well, we only
Are there
need a
any other
second.
comments on? And I'd like to second the one that, about exploring the news. And I would just like to make a comment that in many, if not all of the boards that, and commissions that I've been a part of, one of our number one, issues that we talk about is communication. How do we get the communication out to people? And there's so many times that we've been working on something for 6 months, and we have people come in here saying that they feel blindsided. And so I think it's a pervasive problem, and I think it really warrants a good look at how we operate and how we try to reach people. Councilor Lockhart?
Mayor, I agree. One of the things when I decided to run for office, that was one of the topics, was transparency. And maybe we can just go online and get the notification. Oh, sorry. We get the notification, there's an agenda and what have you, but if communication on what we have been working on, people would really appreciate its easy access, easy availability. So I agree with all that. It'd be an interesting work session.
Well, I think we have consensus that that's an important topic that we would like as a work session. And Councilor Newman, you have a second?
Yeah, Mayor Cumby, you and I were talking about maybe having a work session on boards and commissions, kind of a follow-up for the new counselors that don't know. We had one and had some discussion, and then I think we held off until the new council was seated. And I think this would be a good time that we could kind of discuss what Councilor Bowling was discussing as well. And maybe some of the boards and commissions that require us to be on there, to see if they could rewrite their bylaws, if it's something that city staff already goes to and maybe something that a councilor doesn't have to go to. So that was the other one that I think we need to add to the list.
I have a comment on that.
Do we have a second on that? And am I allowed to second something as mayor, or does it?
Harrington has.
Yeah, you can second.
Yeah, I'd like to second it.
You just can't make the motion.
Because Councilor Newman and I have had extensive discussions about kind of the need to look at this. And as I was in discussion with individual counselors just about the boards, I began to wonder about the relevancy of some. Do we need that, or are there other ways that we could explore connection? So I think it does warrant a revisit. So with that second, yes.
I do have a comment.
Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, sorry, I was just going to call you Nancy. City Clerk had said that there is an opportunity on the 27th to look at those rules and procedures in which that process could be discussed at that point, because it will be in that rules and
But it doesn't talk about, so clarification, if I may, Mayor. I'm talking about these and getting rid of some, not rules and procedures, some that are doing the same thing. If we can combine them, if we can, I'll use the rifle range as an example. It was the last one picked. Why? Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. Nothing to do, but I think that I see what you mean, when it goes into they're requiring us to be on there. I don't think that's a rules and procedures, though. I think that's more their board. So I think it's a whole separate topic that we need to have, if that makes sense.
I'm understanding you better now.
Okay.
And my comment would be putting too much into a work session that winds up going for hours, and then we get fatigued and we don't really complete the discussion. So maybe they should be separate
So Mayor, if I could just clarify.
Yes, City Clerk.
The work session that's being requested would be boards and commissions effectiveness, part 2, basically.
Right, the same
You know?
one,
Yeah.
whether or not we need to keep them or give them a better direction of what they should be doing to help achieve our council goals.
And I wonder if it would be appropriate at that time to explore the process that we just went through during that work session, that we look at boards and commissions, relevance, and how we do the appointment, that we would have a work session that focuses on boards and commissions.
That's the rule.
The rules and, yeah, so they are too.
Yeah, so they are.
All right, so we're asking for a second one that looks at boards and commissions and examines each one. And I know we've just done this, but I felt like we just didn't let go of anything. It's like a hoarder, we just couldn't let go. So. And I turn it over for item 23 to Councilor Newman.
I move we adjourn.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Oh, did you want?